Yep, that's me. 3 years old, praise dancing at my home church. Who would have thought one could minister at such a young age? My name is Chloe. I'm a 20-year-old student at Xavier University of Louisiana. I'm a Baptist Christian and the facilitator for our discussion. I was brought up in the church and ministered through song, dance, theater, early childhood development, and technical management. As I grow older, I realize that as a Christian, there are other ways to show my love for God. Within classrooms, hospitals, health corporations, political spaces, and volunteer opportunities, there are chances for leadership to grow. Today, I will be showing you a couple of people who are doing work just like me. Ayana Nation, an upcoming sophomore majoring in neuroscience at Xavier. Her passion for God and liturgical dance broke through to me and allowed us to worship together. Noah Williams, a recent graduate of Xavier headed to Howard University School of Dentistry, the vessel that created a space for students to worship in unity.
So, my name is Noah Williams. I am 22, originally from Louisiana.
My name is Ayana Nation. I'm 19.
In my religious background, I grew up Baptist and been in church all my life.
I am a Christian and I was born and raised in the Church of God in Christ. I am in dance ministry and I've been doing that since I was like 7.
Back at home, I was in the choir, praise worship team.
I worked the children's Bible study.
I used to be part of the, children's choir, things like that. Like I said, my mom was the choir director, so I had to participate. But it was also something that I looked forward to.
When I was 7, we went to a church and I saw some people dance and I said, Mom, I want to do that. And so my mom went back to church. She was like, let's start a dance team.
I love to sing. So that was, it was a given that I wanted to sing in church. Drill team, it just seemed cool. And I was just like, yeah, I want to do this.
As I started doing it, I realized it was my own form of worship. It was my own form of giving God what he deserves.
When I think of a faith leader, I think of someone who has unwavering faith, never giving up, constantly motivating, constantly pushing people to, do what's right and follow the word of God despite where the world goes.
I think about youth leaders, pastors, and leaders of ministry.
I would say attempt to have unwavering faith because, we do have moments where doubt comes and joy is stolen.
Pastors and ministry leaders are supposed to be like the people you can go to when you feel like you need like a pick-me-up.
In a sense, relatable, but also takes responsibility, and not just for their actions, but for the people that they are leading.
So you feel down about something, you go to your pastor, you're like, hey, pastor, pray for me. I need prayer right now.
And I also see a faith leader as someone who is a servant, right? Willing to educate others in efforts to make them become more faith in their walk with God.
I have friends that I know I can go to for prayer. I can go to that their faith will combine with mine. As the church mother, like their prayers are like the most powerful to me.
When you think of a faith leader, you might think of a pastor or something, but if I just see my barber as a faith leader, if I see my dentist as a faith leader, people that are on my basketball team as faith leaders, then, it's not a big issue or it's not odd for me to be on fire for Christ.
I go to Xavier University of Louisiana and I study neuroscience.
I'm currently here in Washington, D.C., and I'll be attending Howard University August 15th. I start for dental school, so that's what I'm doing.
I really think the best way I could combine that, let me think about that one. That's a good question. I really just think it depends on like being that sunshine. Any type of science you study, especially at a school like Xavier, it's hard. It can be really hard. So I think how combine being a faith leader and like not like in a religious place or atmosphere. It's just being that light, being that sunshine, that positive light in the darkness.
We had our gospel fest during the fall and during the spring. We go all big and bad for secular artists, which is something that I would attend if I had to, right? But that doesn't excite me. So when I had the opportunity as Mr. Xavier to really express God in a bigger or in a more represented and uniform way, I did that.
I have people at my church who have strayed away. They were my age and they strayed away. One of the main things I do say is find like-minded people. You can't try to say, I want to get closer to God. I want God back in my life, but you're still dealing with the crowd that constantly wants to turn away from God or constantly does not bring God into certain situations.
But when you're young and you're trying to build the kingdom of Christ, it might be difficult to have certain conversations, but you still should have them.
It's always better when you have someone with you, and that helps with accountability too. As
you're constantly elevating up, you're constantly saying, well, I can't have this conversation with them because this is where they're at and this is where I'm at.
Like there's the Block NOLA church, that's like a youth, like a young adult church. That's just made just for young adults. Find places and spaces, areas like that, because that's where you can find like-minded people.
If you keep them around while you're elevating, as you elevate, they elevate too. And that's no longer an excuse.
Find areas like that where they include fun into like finding God. So you can also have fun in a way that can also bring you the word.
You have to be a human. You have to allow people to see you as a human and not just a leader in church.
Well, what I know, because I talk to these people and I still talk to these people. Number one, they felt forced to go to church. They didn't really have it in their heart to go to church in the first place. So they felt forced, causing them not to really enjoy church the way that they should.
I'm still a member of the church that I was raised back at home. And this is the same church that my grandma grew up in as a child.
So when you have a lot of older people at the church, they still have those older doctrines, and when it comes to church and service and the way you dress and stuff. So they didn't like feeling judged about wearing a certain thing to church.
There's just ways of doing things that they've been doing for years, but nobody questions it.
The deacon pointed out that I wore jeans today and not a suit to church. And now I feel like I don't want to come to church because I can't express to myself the way I want to. I just want to come for God.
But just in our daily lives, like we're willing to ask questions while our parents grew up. Don't ask that. Just do it.
Some of them didn't just like leave the church. They just went to different congregations.
I think they should also begin to start thinking, why do we do this? Is this necessary?
Be more open to talk. So a young person can feel like I can go to this person and tell them what I've been through and they can tell me without being judged.
Certain religious protocols that you just see in church that just don't make sense, right? Well, we gonna wear white on first Sunday, it's just like, well, dang, if I ain't got white, then I just can't go to church.
Let go of the judgment. Number two, because it's a new generation.
So if you want younger people to be back in church, if you want younger people to see God for who he is, then be able to answer questions. How do you expect them to ask questions to God if you can't answer the questions they have? Saying like, when you don't see that many children in the church, it's kind of difficult for you to even see where exactly do I fit in.
Listen, first of all, listen and understand. Don't think that Sister Jackie just don't like you because she's telling you need to pull your skirt down.
If you feel that you have a stronger relationship with God than maybe some of your other counterparts or some of your peers, you should be willing to assist them in their walk or their journey with Christ.
Understand, okay, so Jackie, she's been going to church since 1930 something, so they wore skirts to their ankles,
I think something that we fail to realize is that we have the responsibility of helping build this kingdom.
Sister Jackie would be the sweetest lady in the world, so she'll probably be like, you know what, baby, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just letting you know how I feel you should just understand.
Like, we can't just say, ooh, she's living a bad life. We can't have that conversation. but it's, oh, you're living a sinful life. We need to have this conversation.
Just be like, this is the way I express myself. This is the way I feel comfortable. Just be honest with them, because you are telling other youth, I don't want to come to church because I can't dress like this.
God knows that I know how you're living. And if I don't make the effort, then I'm just as bad as you are.
You're not telling the older people, like, the reason why I don't feel comfortable coming to this church is because y'all are always doing this and this.
Each one needs to reach one to teach one.
And even tell the pastor, because one thing they're going to do is listen to the pastor.
We need to find a way that will allow our friends to, or our peers even, to see God as, something good.
And the pastor going to be like, he going to go, well, I know my pastor will go in front of the congregation and be like, y'all need to stop telling me you this, and this. And then they going to be quiet.
We're able to see Beyonce and Cardi B as, these great figures. But if we show God in a way that's not necessarily secular, then that could attract young adults in so many ways.